Welcome back to Sunrise as we continue this morning while we pay tribute to Mandoza. South Africa is mourning the passing of Mduduzi Tshabalala, affectionately known to his fans as Mandoza. He passed away yesterday after losing his battle with cancer. To talk more about the life of Mandoza, we're joined in studio by entertainment writer Chris Jordan and eNCA reporter Nontobeko Sibisi. Good morning to you guys.
Morning.
And thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, morning.
Nontobeko, let me just kick off the conversation with you in terms of how the news of Mandoza broke. We know that a week ago he performed at that controversial concert at Orlando Stadium, which in this case happened to be his last public performance. How did the news break?
Well, initially we saw a tweet from Ustembiso Sithole, and at first you could see he hesitates in his tweet to say, should I do it? A legendary musician has passed away. I'm not too sure what to say. And then eventually says, breaking news, legendary Kwaito star has passed away. But afterwards, didn't want to elaborate with any further details because it left him in a bit of an awkward situation. And that's
Sorry, just establish who is Ustembiso Sithole.
Ustembiso Sithole was formerly with the Mail and Guardian, is now with SABC News Digital.
Okay.
So it came from there, but it was also him having links somehow to the actual family itself. Hence why people are now asking, was it okay for him to share it, or should it have been left to the announcement of the actual family itself? So that tweet went through, which put us all in a panic, trying to call someone close to the family to try and talk to us. And most of them kept on saying that, in actual fact, guys, can you just respect our space? We don't want to talk about it. Respect our space. We'll address you when if necessary.
Okay. All right. So, Chris, I think what we're going to try and do is recap and look back who this person was in terms of music. Okay, early days, Chiskop was, really at the height of Kwaito, 99 to 2000. He's part of a group called Chiskop, boys coming out of Zola. He's had a prison experience for 2 years or so, and then he turns his life around with forming this band. Initially just as a dancer.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, it was at the age of 16 he stole a car, so he went to Dipkloof and then prison, obviously, came out of there. Chiskop formed with three of his, obviously, with his best friends there. Discovered by Arthur. I mean, that name we haven't heard for a while, and we're like that's great. I mean, that's a strong foundation.
Yeah,
for
gave
so
them their
much,
first break, so to say, because they had been at it for a good about 5 or 8 years or so. Yeah,
and so went solo. With Arthur, he went solo with Zola South, the 915 Zola South. I mean, he's got nine albums in total. He went platinum. I mean, we all immediately think Nkalakatha as a nation, I would say, because it was 2000, so 6 years after 94, and it was around that time where people were becoming musically conscious about Boom Shaka was before. We had Malika coming afterwards, a whole bunch of crossover artists, for the white and the black, obviously, musical consumption, the commercial mainstream. But again, this is where the tornado, I mean, I call him the tornado, but he is the top dog,
I must say, that wasn't a very popular song in the township, so it was tornado for you, white folks. Let's take your calls on 011-447-1742 or 011-447-2570. Okay, so let's trace the story of you look at 2000, so it's in the past 16 years. He's really battled with a lot of things. We only have 8 minutes, so we can't really get much into it. He's that guy who there was drug conversations at some point. There were car accidents at some point. As much as there were great albums, and the consistency of producers in his life, like Gabby Leroux, he was able to just continuously make music, but it was just not the same as what Nkalakatha did.
I mean, it wasn't the same. Remember, back in the day, we still had the thing, that song of the year. We went through such a peak with him. You saw him at the Metro FM Awards. Out of 10 categories, he was scooping 5 of them. Summer Awards, Best Kwaito, Album of the Year. That was his time, and working closely with Gabby Leroux. And all over a while, his music almost kind of took a knock. Hence why I thought recently he wanted to start resuscitating himself to try get back with his old producer Gabby Leroux, hoping that they would revive what Nkalakatha did to the nation. And he wanted to go straight back to that music that originally led us to his doorstep.
All right, let's take a caller, and Temba is on the line. Temba, thanks for holding your comment this morning.
Ana bengifuna ukusho ukuthi abana bafethu inkalakatha ngempela la ku music industry ehambile bafethu undozilila so hlezi nje simkhumbula bafethu. I remember that time ngiseka seDobsonville bekathanda ukushaya around siblome sonke nabomthimbani iChiskop yonke crew inkalakatha evayile bafethu impilo zethu akazibhlungu kodwa yazini uyishila imaki yakhe nathi sochubeka esama new artist vele ku industry sifuna ukungena. Rest in peace may out jabulile mfethu style music omnandi sohlezi vele sithenga ama CD wakho namanje umusic wakho mfethu uzochubeka mfethu. Khuluma noThemba Mabaso aka Chilisi abanye bangazi ngoHope.
Chilisi, Hope, Themba. Siyabonga, danke siyabonga baba. Okay, let's take Paul from Witbank. Hello Paul.
How are you, man?
We're good.
I'm very good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm saddened by this news, but it's part of life, man. Mandoza is like our hero. You know, in Zanzi, that guy was just unique and gift from God, but it's part of life.
Okay, Punpo siyabonga ne?
Siyabonga kakhulu.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, interesting. The one thing about Mandoza and a lot of early 90s Kwaito was about, you know, young boys coming out of the township with really little, if not nothing at all, trying to tell their story, you know, inspire others and make money in the process. What would you say are some of the key things that, you know, he has shared and taught this country, especially about the life of a young black man?
I think that, I mean, it's like we all love a rags to riches story. You know, it's that whole humble beginnings, but, you know, and without sounding cliche and dismissive and trivialized, that's a big thing still. You know what I'm saying? You need to be able to be a role model for those people that want to come into the industry. Again, he came in at a difficult time. We were transitioning in the country, and so, you know, like hip hop artists, quite artists that are now coming in, our Nasty Season, all these people have free way to that. You know,
there's a foundation, that was laid. Yeah,
and I mean, it's not only just obviously Mandoza, but we are honoring him today. But we know the artists of their time laid the groundwork, and that's really what we need to respect as we move forward. And the guys have got these role models to look up to, where you know, perhaps maybe some here and there today, maybe not the best, you know. So yeah,
and a lot of responsibility. Yeah,
but not forgetting also back then the picture of Kwaito. It was so tainted. It was violent. It was rough. It was, who are these thugs coming out on our screens and spewing this? It's bad influence. But look at that success story underneath it all. It was,
but it was not packaged. You know, you present it as it is. There was no really, there was not much of tampering with the packaging. It's like, this is who you are. Okay, boom, you go out there. You're not given lesson 101 or how to handle your interviews, how to package yourself, what your image, you know, all that stuff.
But it was also judged too much on the surface. Look at the messages behind
Great
that.
song.
Much powerful.
Okay, so we're going to take another caller. We've got Goodman out in Pretoria. Goodman, thanks for holding your comment or question this morning.
She's how are you?
We're good, Goodman.
Yeah, our hearts are broken about Mandoza. Yeah, we used to love him. I think all South African and international music, they used to love that guy. So my message to Mandoza,
okay,
I used to like Nkalakatha, Mandoza Maqali Kwaito, and Nkalakatha Tornado. So rest in peace, Mandoza.
Okay.
We'll be with him wherever he is.
Okay. Let's tap into the crossover, being able to be played on stations which were predominantly not playing Kwaito. You know, working with some of the most interesting characters. He did stuff with Danny K. Who's that Boerewors man? Nathaniel? Nathaniel. And then, well, they had a Boerewors thing, him and Nathaniel. And then the movie Jersey Number 10. Actually, I read somewhere they said, outside of Nelson Mandela wearing the jersey for the World Cup Rugby 1995, another moment that really sort of like get the country to come together.